It's the heat of the summer here in DFW. What's going on in the housing market specifically? How are we looking in terms of new construction? I want to show you the data, show you what you might need to know, look for some trends, see what makes sense if you're looking to buy new construction here in DFW. Let's get into it. So here we go. Okay, so as of the time of recording this video, it is literally August 1st. So the data is out already for July 2023. So I want to show you in real time, look at the data and say, hey, what is going on in the housing market, specifically new construction, because that's what I cover a lot of here on this channel. So I haven't even really dug in and looked at this data yet. So let's take a look at it together for the first time. So I'm going to share my screen, show you the data points because I'm kind of a nerd for things like this, and see what's going on here in the DFW market. Okay, so what I've done is I've broken it down because I could run an entire MLS, but that's really not what I want to focus on. I want to focus on the four counties, the four biggest counties that I do the most business in here in DFW. That's Dallas County, Hunt County, Collin County, and Rockwall County. If I had a fifth slider, I would add in maybe Tarrant or Denton County, but I want to stay in these four just for kind of specifics. And again, this is showing the data right now for month end July 2023. What are we looking at in terms of housing prices? So let's break it down and talk about it. So all homes here in July, we were at a median home price, $425 in Rockwall County, $525 in Collin County, $299 in Hunt County, and you're like, man, that's an outlier. Let's talk about it. And $377 in Dallas County. But I want to break it down even further because I talk about a ton of new construction, and I think I'm guessing that you're going to see a discrepancy between resale and new construction and where we're seeing that price point. So let's do that. Let's break it down. Let's do resale first. So resale first, and we're going to have the editors. Let's take these numbers and put them like on the screen so we can look at them side by side when we go to the new construction side. So resale numbers, the median sales price in the four counties. So Rockwall $450, Collin $530, Hunt County $274, and Dallas County $369.5. That is the resale number. So we'll put those kind of on screen somewhere and set those aside. Keep those in your head, and then let's compare that against what we've got in a new construction space. So let me take my notes and let's see what happens. So Rockwall County drops. We're getting down to $399.9. Collin is $511. Hunt is $313, and then Dallas County, all of Dallas County is going to be $443 on a median sales price. And again, we're doing single family, so I'm excluding townhomes, condos, things like that. So a little bit, so $329, or so back to Rockwall, so $399.9, and I think what were we? $420, right? $450. Okay. So we're seeing, which is an interesting concept to me because people are like, oh, well, you shouldn't buy new construction. You shouldn't. Here's the deal. That's a $50,000 price swing. And realistically, it's probably more than that because what we're seeing with builders right now is incentivized money that's not getting seen outside the transaction. What do I mean by that? It means builders are putting money in $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $30,000 towards closing costs or interest rate buy downs, maybe a little bit in price reductions. But honestly, for the most part, we're seeing less in so-called quote unquote price reductions, and it's more of it is going toward lending and closing incentives because that goes further for the buyer. That's you. So not only are we seeing a lesser sale price or median sale price on all of those, we're also seeing incentives that are not getting necessarily portrayed. So it's probably even more. So for example, I closed a couple of different transactions in the in the first part of the summer, June and July, had clients getting anywhere between, like, they got enough money on one of them, they bought their interest rate down to 4.99%. Another client, they got $15,000 from the builder. They went with a VA loan, and actually by the time it was all said and done, at closing, they got a refund. They got like a $4,300 check. It's crazy. Partially that was, earnest money, and then the way their VA loan was structured, they walked away from the table with money. But it's happening. So another client of mine, we got them under contract. They're getting $15,000 plus a washer, dryer, refrigerator from their builder. So there's money out there to play with in the new construction space. So we see the kind of sales price numbers comparative, between resale and new construction. Want to dig in a little bit further, because most time people will be like, oh, median sales price, and they'll stop there. I think there's some other things, like some other numbers for us to look at as well. So before we go any further, let's move off of the bar graph, and let's do it as a line, because sometimes you need to see it kind of how the data trends. So this is the last year. And again, Rockwall in blue, Collin in red, Hunt in green, and Dallas County in that kind of grayish color. So same numbers. Again, these are just new construction numbers. These are median sales prices. So $399. So like we're tracking Rockwall County, for example. We'll go from $399 in July. It fell from $520 in Rockwall. And you're like, oh my gosh, did it fall $100,000? What's going on? I don't think that's that market crashing. I think that's just, we'll look at it in a second. You'll see number of homes closed and sold in those months, and you'll see that. Collin County, it moved a little bit. So Collin went from 511 back in June. It was at 544. So you're seeing kind of, everything's kind of trending, ebbing and flowing as it goes. Let's go back to our bar graph. When we look at this, you've also got to consider kind of locations. So if you're, so Dallas County, so central Dallas proper. Collin County is kind of to the north. So think Plano, Richardson, Frisco, Allen, McKinney, Prosper, Salina, probably for the most part, Collin County, almost all the way up to Van Alstyne, almost all the way to the east, even some parts of Roy City. Rockwall County is kind of to the east of Dallas County. It's a small county, but it's listed as one of the more wealthy counties, so you got to consider that. And then Hunt County, even further to the east. And so I think part of why you see an outlier in Hunt County is because it goes like Roy City up through Greenville, Commerce, areas like that you're not seeing as much growth. So you'll see that number and you're like, oh my gosh, it's way low. What's going on out there? I think there's development and things happening. It's more so happening in the like Roy City, Fate area. There's stuff going on in Greenville. There's stuff going on in Commerce area. Not as much, and it's definitely a cheaper price point than what you would find going up to the north to say Frisco, Salina, Prosper type area. Let's go price per square foot and kind of run the comparison there on what we're looking at price per square foot wise. Again, just to kind of give us those numbers and see where curiosity lands. So if we start with our new construction homes, price per square foot, so 177, 209, 175, 203. If we go back to resale, 184, 218, 166, and 205. So all real pretty close. We're seeing, a $10 to $15 per square foot jump going back to resale. Again, I think I would personally, I chalk that up to, on the resale side, you're shopping against somebody else's emotions, right? You've got somebody that they're like, hey, this is our nest egg. We have to get so much money out. We have to move on to the next thing. There's all these things that happen. Whereas when you're shopping against a builder, you are just buying straight shopping from their spreadsheet, right? Or you're shopping and building from inventory. What I can't delineate or differentiate on here that I wish I could, I wish I knew how many of these were, like, especially in the new construction space, how many of these are closings that were pulled off of inventory versus how many are build jobs that didn't even show up. Because most of what you see here, truthfully, is probably something that was listed MLS that the builder had on inventory. So there's actually probably even a few more closings in the new construction space than there is in the resale space, because a lot of times if you're from like dirt to completion, those never really get listed. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Depends on the builder. Also, it also depends on the builder how they report their data to the MLS. They have different reporting standards than what like we do as realtors on a resale transaction. So while the numbers here are great, I always take it with a grain of salt and say, hey, there's probably a little bit more in there that we don't fully know, just because of how that data gets recorded and reported and how some builders choose to work with MLS and some don't. But hey, while we're jumping into our next stat, I always want to tell you, hey, if you find value in things like this, subscribe to the channel. It helps me. It helps you. I want to be a factory of knowledge for you, a resource where I can, and just say, hey, here's what I understand. Here's what's happening. Here's the trends. We're trying to put out content every single week in the new construction space to help you as a buyer, whether you're relocating here into DFW or you're moving around in the Metroplex and you want to know what's going on. I'm trying to be a resource where I can. So subscribe to the channel. That helps us a ton. Also, if you're looking to buy, and build new construction here in DFW, I would love to work with you. My contact information, we're going to drop it right here. It'll be on there at the end of the video as well. I do a ton of new construction work. That is kind of what I try to specialize in as a realtor here in DFW. So if you're going to do that, please, I would love to help you, but I can't help if you don't reach out. I'm really good at what I do. Take that moment and say, I'm good at what I do, and I want to help get you the best deal possible. So contact information is right there. Call, text, email, calendar link, whatever. Let's get back and keep looking at stats. So we've done sales price, price per square foot. Let's do percentage of original price. So this is basically what you're going to see is like how, based on the original price, how much did they actually get for what they listed it for. Again, it skews a little bit on new construction because sometimes you'll see it listed at a base price and then, without additions, or sometimes it's inventory that's listed. So on the new construction side, they're getting 97, 98, 98, 97% of original list price. On the resale side, was at 97, 99, 96, 100. So relatively close there. Closed sales. So let's see how many of the, again, and it's going to be skewed because not all new construction gets reported the same way, but resale stuff does. So closed sales just for the month of June or July, for 2023, 122 in Rockwall County, 897 in Collin, 88 in Hunt, and 1242 on the resale side in Dallas County. New construction, 73 in Rockwall County, 265 in Collin, 45 in Hunt, and 122 in Dallas County. So we have a fairly deep data pool when we're looking at things here. If we go and say, hey, how many new listings are we seeing? What's hitting the market? What's showing up on the resale side? Again, these are things that just came live on market. So 207, 1260, 146, 1763 on the resale side. New construction, 100, 355, 73, 215. But again, there's a ton of things in there that are off market that don't get MLS listed for one reason or another. They end up in guys like mine inbox, or you've got to have a realtor that knows how to find those things, knows how to stay on top of those things and say, hey, here's what's going on. Here's what I know is coming. Here's builders that are showing these incentives. A lot of times I get emails of hey, we had a contract bust and we have this home coming back to market. Who do you know? Right. And you want to know who I know to get in on those things. I want to show you this really quick while we're talking about this, because again, this is just kind of a snapshot of what is actually coming on the market. But here's some of the things we're seeing from some local builders. So this is Perry Homes. If you've been around my channel for any amount of time, you've heard me talk a lot about Perry, one of my favorite builders, super high quality, summer savings, up to $25,000 in special incentives, financing incentives, or design upgrades, closing costs. These are, running through basically the end of summer. So we're looking at things like, hey, there's, stuff in Forney, Devonshire. We've got stuff all over. So $25,000 is what Perry is showing. Highland, another one that I talk about a ton on my channel. Save big with $12,000. So they're giving you $12,000 to use toward closing costs, buy downs. And again, that's before we do any sort of negotiating, before we say, hey, here's what's going on. Tons of inventory that could move in, anywhere from as quick as 30 days to stuff that would close, later this fall. My last one I want to show you, just again, we're talking Pacesetter, our personal builder. This is who we built our home with a couple years ago. Huge fans, but you're seeing it on their website. So through the summer, up to $15K in flex cash or $499 on an interest rate. I'll be fully transparent. That is a 3-2-1 buy down. That is not a permanent rate, but that's not to say you can't take this money that they're giving you, get a little bit more flex cash from them or from your realtor. We'll hook you up and buy your rate down way out of that 7% range to help you save money. So builders are offering this. Again, you're seeing promotions like this from a lot of builders. You're going to continue to see them, I think, as we get to toward the end of the quarter, and especially pushing toward quarter four. We are going to see tons, in my opinion, of builder incentives trying to move as much inventory as possible. So right about now, be a good time to get into it. So we'll go back and let's do some more stats and then we'll wrap it up. So did new listings. Now let's do total number, again, on websites that we can see homes for sale. The MLS pulls data from that are actually listed. So on the resale side, so 444, 1968, 357, and 2676 to round out Dallas County. On the new construction side, drop in the bucket, 224. I think there's more than that. I think all of these numbers are a little bit low just because some builders do not a great job of getting their content out there, getting their product in front of people, which is all the more reason you need somebody like me. So looking at those numbers, and then lastly, words are hard, goodness. Lastly, let's do closed sales for the month of July. People are like all the time, oh man, nobody's buying houses. What are we going to do? People are buying houses. So Rockwall County, again, small county, we're seeing 122. Collin County, 897. 88 in Hunt County, and 1,242 resale closes in Dallas County in the month of July. People are still buying houses. People are still selling houses. On the new construction side, 73, 265, 45, 122 numbers of closed sales in July. So again, I don't know the mix of how many of those were full builds and how many of those were, jumped in somewhere in the building process versus how many of those were buying off of inventory. I wish I did. If I could figure out a way to track that, I would love to know it, but I haven't figured out how to track that yet. But somebody who enjoys numbers and data, that would be something that's super interesting to know. So there you have it. That is the market update specifically focused on new construction here in DFW. Hopefully you found interest in that, and maybe you're on the fence and you're like, oh, I don't know, should I buy? Let's have a conversation. I'm not saying it's 100% right for you. I'm not saying it's 100% wrong. Just let's have a conversation and see what we can do and what we can make sense for you. Whether you're moving, like I said, into DFW, you're trying to upgrade here in DFW, you're trying to buy for the first time in DFW, I don't care. Whether it's a $300,000, $350,000 price point or $1 million price point, let's talk about it. Let's have a conversation. We can't do that, of course, without the info that's going to show up right there on screen. I'm here for you. I'm here to advocate for you, here to answer any questions and try and give you as much data so you can make the best decision possible when you're buying a new home. Excited for the end of the summer, excited for what's coming. I think we're going to try and do something like this every month because it's helpful for me. I think it's helpful for y'all to kind of understand where we're going in our market, especially talking new construction. So hope you found this video helpful. Like I said, thumbs up goes a long way. Comment down below if you have questions. Love to entertain a dialogue with you, what you're thinking, what's going on, how can I be helpful? Here for you. We'll see you in the next video. Bye for now.